Thanks for joining me here on Tropical Weather Impact. I'm meteorologist Payton Malone. It is Monday, June 16th. The tropics still very quiet on the Atlantic side of the basin. There's been a lot of disturbed weather in Central America here, and that is still where a lot of the activity is going to be through this week. But the northern Gulf, the eastern Gulf towards Florida, we're just dealing with scattered storms. The Caribbean still dealing with some fast trade winds, a little Saharan dust, but nothing major. And then out in the open Atlantic, dominated by that Bermuda high that's been really strong this year. Keeping things fairly quiet, at least in the Caribbean for now. Now, here's what's going on in the Pacific. The D storm formed this weekend. That is now dissipated and moved out. And here's the next player in the game. You can already see a big burst of showers and storms this morning just south of Central America and south of Mexico. And this is going to likely become our next named storm on the Pacific side of the basin. So this is going to make a run not only at a named storm. I do think there's a decent chance that this could become a hurricane as it moves towards South Mexico. Now, the difference with this storm compared to the past few we've had is they've all stayed out over the open waters and they've dissipated. This one really could make landfall in southern Mexico by the middle of this week. Likely as a named storm, but could be making a run at a hurricane status. So our spaghetti plots here with the Invest 94 is what we're calling it, is lifting north. They all show a similar outcome. Now, there is some uncertainty on exactly how strong and the exact landfall location and where that would be, but looks like there certainly will be a named storm moving inland there by the middle and into this week. So when you look at some of our high resolution models, they show this thing maybe wrapping up fairly quickly over the next 48 hours. Here we are Wednesday night into Thursday. There's Acapulco there. They're the ones who got hit by the big Hurricane Otis. This is probably not going to be that strong by any stretch, but still a landfalling storm somewhere along the southern Mexican coast here by the middle of the week. Probably Thursday would be the best guesstimate on when that potential hurricane could be moving inland. And outside of that, it's just a lot of disturbed weather for all of South Mexico into Central America. They're going to see a lot of rain here. Now, on the Gulf side of things, we're likely going to have quite a bit of showers and storms that are trying to form in the extreme southwestern Gulf here. The chances of that developing in anything aren't very high, but that will increase that flood risk across southern parts of Mexico and again into Central America. So that's really the only player in the game right now for a potential hurricane. Moving over very warm waters, it does not have a problem with plenty of fuel here. This little area in here can often throw some surprise storms on how quickly they can intensify. The wind shear is not going to be a huge problem. And again, we got plenty warm water temperatures in the low to even mid 80s here. So that's why, yes, a named storm, but maybe a hurricane not out of the question. Again, that's the Pacific side of the basin. Things ramp up there traditionally a lot earlier than the Atlantic. The earliest parts of the season, June, July, and August, are often very busy on the Pacific side. The Atlantic is a little bit more delayed here, and this is where we stand right now with the Atlantic basin. Nothing unusual about it being on the quiet side. It just looks like it's going to be quiet for a bit longer, which we do enjoy, and then July, we'll see what it holds, but it is typically a quieter month when you look at the averages before things really ramp up in August. September is the peak of the season here, usually around the second week, and then things can even stay active into October. So as it stands right now, things are nice and quiet. The rest of the country getting ready for some heat. And we're talking about first big heat wave of the season for some of our areas north of the Gulf Coast. Now, we're going to stay hot and humid as our ridge of high pressure dominates from the desert southwest all the way into parts of the Gulf Coast. But watch this center of this ridge. It builds in across the east coast from, well, the Midwest all the way to the East Coast. And this means you're going to have intense heat not only on the Gulf Coast, but all the way up to the Great Lakes region, where Chicago this weekend is getting ready for the mid-90s. It may actually be hotter in Chicago, the air temperature, than what it is here in the deep south in New Orleans. Dallas 93 this weekend, D.C. even hotter at 94. And then if you want the cool weather, you got to go out to the Pacific Northwest, 60s and even 50s in some of the higher elevations. So big heat wave taking over the eastern U.S. here and the central U.S. as we go throughout the upcoming weekend. And naturally, we are welcoming summer. The first official day of summer is Friday. It officially gets here at 9:42 in the evening. So this weekend rather, really going to be feeling that heat and humidity and the chance for some scattered storms. That's going to do it for your tropical weather impact here on your Monday. We'll see you right back here tomorrow for an update.